All right, I've been playing DCS for a couple of weeks or a few weeks now. I've only had a couple of crashes. One of them pissed me off though because I was out practicing nav and instruments and I hadn't saw a carrier. So I was on the way out there, just flying level, and it crashed. So here I'm loaded up in the single player game. You can see how much memory it's going using here and how much GPU memory it's using. So I'm just going to go to F5, which has been flying. I'm just going to set it on the tarmac, let it load up, pull back up the task manager, and we'll take a look at that. One thing to note is, the hard drive, man, that thing, it beats it to death. Now this is a 970 Evo, and the time this takes this thing to load, hell, it should have loaded 100 freaking gigabytes. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So you see our memory's doing pretty respectful and ready, folks. So we're about loaded. Our GPU is going to come up to about a little over 4 gig of memory usage on it. And it's going to be about 7 gig of system RAM that's going to be used. And this is in, like I said, standalone mode. Yeah, that's reasonable. There's nothing wrong with that. So there we go. 7.3 gig of RAM, about 4.1 gig of video memory. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to exit this and I'm going to load up the multiplayer mode. And go online. And as you see, there's no page file for either the GPU RAM or the system RAM. Yeah, and again, I've only been playing a simulator or using it. I'm still getting controls set up and tweaks, dead zone set, making me a track RR system right now. So obviously could be operated better. So here you go right away as we start loading up the multiplayer. You can see where the GPU memory started off where it was and maxed out and put a little bit into the shared system RAM. Not much, just 100 megabytes. But it stacked on top of the other one. Then it seemed to do a refresh and actually got rid of some of the RAM. But if it would do this all the time, that would be great. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do. Now, how much this is going to help, I don't know. What needs to be done is more extensive testing. And it might be more of a perception thing. But it will definitely improve system memory leaks, not only of this program, but many programs. And when I say memory leaks, it's really memory management by Windows and or the programmers. If this is something I've used, maybe the devs might do something incorporated into the actual program itself. So as you see, maxed out my poor little 1060 here, basically sitting at 6 gigs of GPU use. I'm pushing up on 12 gigs on my system RAM, 14 gigs. So it's definitely using a lot of RAM. So again, I'm just going to set on the tarmac and got there. God, I wasn't feeling good last night until I'm operating the machine. So there we go. We're setting damn near max at 16 gig. A lot of memory, a lot of GPU memory. Shared memory. So that means page files going back and forth. Alright, so here's what the interesting part comes into play. We're going to go back to single player mode. Now, everything being equal, you'd like to see that single player mode go back to 7 gigs of system RAM use and about 4 gigs of GPU RAM use. Well, as you probably guessed, that is not going to happen. Again, I'm just going to sit on a tarmac. I'm loading the program, trying to do things exactly the same. It's loading up. See, I did lose a little bit of system RAM. It's still sitting up there high. My GPU RAM is still just beating the shit out of my poor old 1060. And, you know, it started scratching my head. Now, what brought this to mind is obviously I look at these things whenever I run new programs, and I knew how much RAM this used. And the other day I pulled it up, and it was maxed out at 16 gig. I had a fairly decent sized page file. I think it's like 4 gig. I'm saying, what the hell's going on? So, you know, I exited back and forth and did this troubleshooting, and it never would go away. So this actually gets much, much worse over time. I shut the program, load it back up. Sure shit, single player mode, only using 7 gig of system RAM, about 4 gig of GPU RAM. And as you see, there's quite a lot of RAM usage here. And I'm sitting on the tarmac, and apples to apples. Definitely isn't the 7 gig when I first loaded it in single player mode. Definitely isn't the 4.1 gig GPU RAM. So here is where we're going to do something. We're going to flush and we're going to clean this system RAM some. Again, I'm editing this video, so I'm at the wrong spot. I guess I'm loading back into multiplayer again to see if to show that it loads up more RAM. What we're going to do is run a little program though eventually, and it's going to bring the system RAM back down to where it needs to be. So what all this is going to do is it's cleaning up the RAM, and it's going to decrease the usage of the page file. You know, page files are fine. It's normal for PCs to use them. You know, if you're accessing a lot, it's going to show hiccups, you know, and frame times are going to go up. Micro stuttering, if you will, whatever you want to call it. But basically, you're accessing back and forth the system RAM. So I'm in the system RAM multiplayer here, and it's about 13 gig. So I'm going to pull over a command prompt at this point after I get on the tarmac. And again, I apologize for this video. It needs a lot to be cleaned up. I don't do this very often. And I definitely ain't feeling very good. And by the way, Happy New Year's to everyone out there. So I'm going to run this little program called cleanmem.exe. Now watch what happens to this memory. Now I'm in multiplayer online mode here. And as you immediately see, my system RAM just went down to about 7 gig. And this again is in multiplayer mode. I'm below 7 gig. I'm below the amount of RAM being used when I was in even single player mode. Didn't hurt the game. The game still runs. Not a change at all in there. Unfortunately, it didn't do shit for the GPU RAM, but that's not what it is. Now, this little program is pulling up an API within Windows. It's actually letting Windows do the fix to it. So what I do is I took this program and I'm putting it in my task scheduler. Okay, here it is, clean system. And I'd been previously running, you might have saw it there, and I had it disabled to show that test because I didn't want it to run while I was doing that test. So it's disabled. So I'm going to re-enable that, okay? And now I'm going to pull it up, and you're going to see that I have the system task. It runs this every 5 minutes, okay? And so what happens is every 5 minutes I do a system RAM clean, and it keeps the RAM down. Now I've played this a few hours like this. I saw absolutely zero effects. Again, it's using Windows System APIs to do this. Now I want to show you in a minute. Look at the RAM. I mean, I was just sitting in multiplayer mode of 13 to 15 gigabytes. And that's crazy. So I'm constantly running this every 5 minutes by the system. You don't have to do anything else. And there's other ways to run this program. You can do it from a pull-up. You can hit your Windows key You can run it how you want. I just decided to do it from my task scheduler. Let it be automatically. It's going to be going all programs. Now here's a page I want you to go to so you can read about this and make decisions on yourself and see if you want to run this program and try it out and see if it helps you in DCS. Now, the more people we get to try this, the more hours we're going to get, the more we're going to see if the damn thing works or not. Okay, or how well it works. So I think that's important. So if we want to try it, please give it a try.